Imagine standing in the middle of a crowded room, heart pounding, as someone you deeply respect suddenly lashes out at you, every word a barb, every gesture a threat to your composure. In that moment, time seems to slow, your palms sweat, and you feel your worst instincts clawing their way to the surface. What if, in those seconds, you could flip a hidden switch inside your mind, calming your own storm and, almost magically, diffusing theirs? Today, you'll discover a simple Stoic trick, honed by emperors and philosophers, that lets you handle even the most difficult people effortlessly, turning hostility into calm conversation and chaos into clarity. The core of this trick rests on one deceptively straightforward idea: you cannot control other people's behavior, but you can master your own response. By anchoring yourself in that truth, you dismantle the power difficult individuals hold over your emotions. You'll learn how to reframe their aggression not as a personal attack, but as a signal for you to dig deeper into your own composure. And you'll practice a quick mental ritual, drawn directly from the writings of Marcus Aurelius, that reshapes your expectations and arms you with empathy before the next heated exchange. First, recognize the gap between events and your reaction. When someone snaps at you, your mind instinctively rushes to judgment. They're rude, or they want to embarrass me. But the Stoics teach that events themselves are neutral. It's your interpretation that turns them toxic. In that brief pause, just a heartbeat, you have a choice: cling to the insult, or separate it from your inner calm. Picture a clear lake disturbed by a thrown stone. The ripples may spread, but the lake's depth and stillness remain untouched. In practice, when a coworker cuts you off mid-presentation, mentally label the interruption as information, not attack. This tiny shift shifts your energy from defense to curiosity. Instead of flaring in anger, you quietly ask yourself, what's really driving their behavior? Consider the case of Elena, a project manager whose team constantly second-guessed her decisions. During one tense meeting, a colleague interrupted her with a sarcastic remark about her latest report. Normally, Elena's pulse would spike, and she'd retort on the spot, sometimes more harshly than she intended. This time, she paused. In that instant, she reminded herself that his tone revealed his own anxiety about looming deadlines, not a personal vendetta against her. She inhaled, let go of the impulse to counterattack, and responded with a calm question. What part of the report concerns you the most? The room's temperature dropped. Her colleague's hostility dissolved into constructive feedback. By owning her reaction, Elena redirected the conversation from conflict to collaboration. Second, embrace a quick ritual of negative visualization before stepping into any challenging interaction. The Stoics call this Premeditation of Challenges, premeditation of evils. It might sound grim, but it's actually liberating. Spend 30 seconds imagining the worst-case scenario in your encounter: sharp criticism, unreasonable demands, flat-out rudeness. Then visualize yourself responding with equanimity. Concretely, before a difficult call with an angry client, close your eyes for a moment and picture them raising their voice, listing every flaw in your work. Feel the sting of each word. Then, imagine yourself inhaling slowly, meeting their complaint with understanding rather than defensiveness. See them pause, surprised at your composure, and the tension easing. Take the story of Marcus, a freelance designer who dreaded feedback sessions. He'd arrive expecting praise, so any critique felt like a personal attack. After learning negative visualization, he began each meeting by mentally playing out a worst-case scene, a torrent of dissatisfaction aimed at his portfolio. In his mind, he stayed calm, almost curious, asking, "What can I learn from this?" When the actual meeting began, even the mildest critique felt lighter than his imagined storm. He found himself listening actively, asking clarifying questions, and absorbing feedback with gratitude. Clients noted his calm professionalism and returned again and again. By deliberately confronting the possibility of difficulty, you diffuse its power. Your mind stops being surprised. Instead, it's prepared. And each time you navigate an uncomfortable discussion with steadiness, you reinforce a new habit, one where emotional triggers lose their grip, and you respond from a place of strength rather than reactivity. These two principles, distinguishing events from reactions, and premeditating challenges, form the backbone of the Stoic trick. In the next section, you'll see how to layer on a third practice that transforms empathy into a tool for disarming hostility even further. But before we dive into that, pause and feel the weight of this truth. No matter who stands opposite you, no matter how fierce their anger or how cutting their words, your composure remains yours to command. That realization alone can turn the most difficult encounter into a chance for growth, connection, and even unexpected harmony. Now, imagine you've mastered the first two Stoic moves, distinguishing events from reactions, and running that short pre-battle rehearsal in your mind. Let's add two more strategies that cement your calm and even turn friction into rapport. First, teach yourself to slip inside their story. When someone's raging at you, it's tempting to view their anger as proof that they're simply difficult. Instead, picture the hidden script playing in their head. Maybe your harsh email echoed their own failure to meet a deadline last quarter. Maybe their clipped tone mirrors the pressure they feel from a boss they can't satisfy. By pausing long enough to imagine their private turmoil, you transform them from adversary to human being in need of something: validation, understanding, relief. In practical terms, when John, a sales director, found his top rep blasting him for an unpopular new policy, he could have bristled and fired back with statistics. Instead, he took a breath and reminded himself that her fury probably stemmed from the fear of missing quota and losing her commission. He began with, "Help me understand what's most frustrating about this change." And in her response, he found a constructive workaround. Her anger didn't vanish, but it shifted into a conversation about real needs, and they co-created a solution that satisfied both. Next, build a tiny ritual I call pause and pivot. Whenever you feel your heart rate spike, even just a notch, slam the mental brakes. Say to yourself, silently, "Pause." Then take a deliberate breath, name the emotion. That's anger. And allow it to be there for a moment without judgment. Finally, pivot. Launch a gentle question or observation that redirects the energy. For example, when Sophia, an ER nurse, faced a family of a shaken patient demanding answers, their panic often morphed into accusatory shouts. In the past, she might have matched their volume or retreated into terse medical jargon. Now, at the first sign of shouting, she pauses, breathes, thinks, "This is fear," and says, "I hear how scared you all are. Can you tell me what worries you most right now?" The tone immediately softens. Their worry becomes the shared problem instead of her personal failure. In those high-stakes moments, pause and pivot hold space for human connection, turning a potential blow-up into a moment of collaboration. By weaving perspective-taking and pause and pivot into the habits you already learned, you'll find even the harshest critics lose their bite. Your mind stops bouncing from insult to insult. Instead, you catch yourself in those crucial milliseconds, step into their shoes, name the emotion, and steer the exchange toward inquiry. The people who once provoked you become partners in problem-solving. With these four practices, neutral labeling, premeditated challenge, empathetic perspective, and pause and pivot, in your pocket, you stand ready to face any clash without losing your cool. In the final section, we'll distill all of this into a powerful closing ritual and show you how to make this Stoic trick as automatic as breathing, so every tough conversation becomes an opportunity to strengthen both your composure and your connections. Now, picture yourself at the end of a difficult conversation, your pulse steady, your voice calm, the tension in the room dissipating like mist in morning sun. To make this state automatic, you need one final ritual, the minute of ownership. Immediately after any challenging exchange, give yourself 60 seconds of quiet reflection. Close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths, and ask yourself 2 questions. What did I do well? And what can I learn next time? Speak the answers out loud. I stayed curious. I asked that open question. And give yourself credit for each moment you chose composure over reaction. Then commit to one micro-improvement. Perhaps next time you'll pause 2 seconds longer before speaking, or you'll mirror their body language for empathy. This tiny ritual cements your progress, turning each trial into training, each moment of calm into a stepping stone toward mastery. Imagine Dana, a team leader who once dreaded conflict so much she'd avoid it entirely. She began using the minute of ownership after every tough talk. In 1 week, she noticed something remarkable. Interactions that used to leave her drained now left her invigorated, brimming with ideas for her next assignment. Her colleagues sensed the shift too. What had been stiff disagreements became dynamic problem-solving sessions. By owning her response and refining it in those 60 seconds, Dana rewired her brain, so that composure became her instinct, not her exception. Remember, the power of this Stoic trick isn't in memorizing 4 steps, it's in living them so deeply they become reflex. When a stranger snaps at you, label the event neutral. Before every meeting, visualize the worst, then see yourself at ease. When someone rages, slip into their story and feel their fear. And in the heat of the moment, pause, name your emotion, and pivot to a question. Finally, after the storm, pause again to celebrate your calm and refine your craft. You've seen how emperors practice these moves in dusty halls, and how modern professionals use them in boardrooms and hospital corridors. Now it's your turn. The next time you face a harsh word, a cold shoulder, or a storm of criticism, remember, you hold the switch. Your mind is the command center. Engage these rituals, and you'll transform every clash into clarity, every conflict into connection, every difficult person into an opportunity for growth. If you're ready to own your calm and turn hostility into harmony, hit subscribe now, and let's keep building your inner citadel together.